G'day and welcome to WTF. Here I am with Angela Heise and Dr. Christiaan Willems. Now, today we're going to talk about buy now, the pressure that we get from people to buy their products and services, and the systems in which we pay for those services through. So we've been having a bit of a chat in the background about some of the issues that we've had in the payment systems with some of the organisations. Chris, would you like to start us off on this?
Buy now, regret later is something that comes to mind, because the pressure to instantly sign up to something and therefore pay something. What are your credit card details? It's the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out. You go, oh yes, I better do that. Then afterwards you go, oh bloody hell, why did I do that? When the adrenaline goes and you go, I wish I hadn't done that. And I mean, I had the kind of the opposite recently. Did some work with a client. They wanted to pay by credit card. And I went, oh well, I'm not really set up for that. And just talking to the bank, they said, oh no, we don't offer that. I went, what? And I thought, well, you've got to have a merchant account or some bureaucratic nightmare. And I said to them, but surely it's the most common financial transaction these days, credit card. What are your credit card details? Yes, here, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, no, we can't do that. And I, bloody hell, it was just appalling. And in the end, I just had to say, no, I'll send you an invoice and pay that. So the urgency of buying now can be an advantage or a serious disadvantage. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, I look at it from the point of view of if somebody's doing that precious sale and they're trying to get the payment straight away, one of the things that they should have been doing in the process of getting to that point should have been working out, how do they save me time? How do they save me money? How do I make money with what they do? What's the emotional outcome I want out of this? What problem are they solving? Are they becoming a problem solver or whatever? Are they removing my worry and stress? And if they're not doing that because they're trying to get us to the sale, we have to ask those questions ourselves.
Yes.
Now, have they actually asked us that? Have they addressed that situation? And until they do, all I realize is this is a pressure sale.
Yeah.
And there will be that pay now and, worry about it later or regret it later. So we have to be more sensible about it. Angela, what experiences have you had?
Well, I just recently had one, and that's the one that really bugs me, is I buy something that I think is a really worthwhile thing to have, and then they come back and go, and wait, there's more. And it's the one page that will never open up again. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You will never get that 90% discount ever again. And and then there's this again, this FOMO kicks in of, oh God, yeah, that would work really well with it because it always relates to the initial product, right? It's not something completely different. It enhances that. So, and it's then, and that button, and then of course there's this guilt tripping. No, I'm not interested in this valuable offer or whatever they put at the bottom. Never ask me this again. I know this offer will disappear and I will, and it's like, I'm sorry, I've already said that I don't want it. Don't tell me again what an idiot I am for declining this offer, because it's just, I get really frustrated when people do that, or when websites do that, with the people behind it.
And in the live workshops as well, you sit through a workshop and they say, well, you've got run to the back of the room and sign up now. You've got 5 minutes, because this offer will never be repeated, as you say. And it's again the FOMO but what always astounds me is the number of people, it might be 10,000, 12,000, whatever, who just run past you and you go, bloody hell, they're signing up. And it might be a really valuable thing, but it might be crap as well. But the fact that it kind of works, but I mean, I can't do that. If I run a workshop, I can't do that. I can't say run. And in fact, someone was trying to sell me something the other day, and they said, oh, it finishes at the end of the month. The end of the month was 3 days hence, and it was $17,000. Or no, there was a special because they take $6,000, so $12,000 roughly. And you go, well, yeah, but at the end of the month, it's happening 3 days. They don't want you to think about it. They don't want you to go, is this a good idea? They just don't want you to do that. And the resentment that generates, it makes the whole thing counterproductive. Having signed up to something that you then go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. You're not going to be committed to it. They're not going to be committed to whatever relationship you've established. So yeah, it's really pointless, isn't
it? Yeah. Well, see, because my focus is on really helping my clients finding their issues, making sure that I become that problem solver, and I'm not a salesperson anymore. I'm a problem solver. Then when I'm sitting in on those conferences like you just spoken about, and somebody up the front says they're going to, all this stuff together is $17, $18, $50,000 worth, but today we're going to give it to you for $3,000. I look at it and go, right, you've just told me it's only worth $3,000, and because of all this crap that you've been going on with, is it really worth the $3,000? So that stuff turns me off. But there's a lot of people who they work on the fear of missing out, and those people then jump into things because they don't want to miss out. So any pressure sales, if it's got to be done right this minute, then it's not going to be any good. The more the price comes down, the less value there is in it. The harder they push, the less value there is. Because if they don't give you that time to think and to come back with questions and everything goes, and if I put an event on, yes, if people turn up for that event, we may give a discount on that because we're doing one sale to a whole room full of people. So we're saving on our time. So there's a time saving there. But it's not going to be from $50,000 down to $1,000 or $2,000.
No.
It'll be an appropriate level, but it'll also be, okay, well, this is, yes, I'm going to leave it in the system for a certain time because I know if I leave it too long, people forget about it anyway. And I want them to think about, I want them to actually, and we've gone over it as well, the value they're going to get out of this. How are they actually going to use it? None of this rubbish about, so-and-so, all these people who came to my event, went and bought my stuff at the back of the room and then made $50,000 in the next deal that they did. That may happen, but the majority of people won't.
Sorry, Alan. Yeah, no, they don't. And what it is, it's about breaking trust for me. And it's about the immediacy, and it's not about the long-term relationship. And if there's one thing that I can recommend to people is when you buy something and you buy it off a website, take a copy of the terms and conditions. I did that once, and I read the terms and conditions and went, it had a cooling off period or a cancellation. And it's, and I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I realized I really didn't like that. So I went back to them and they said, no, we don't have that. And it was no longer on the website. The terms and conditions had changed.
Wow.
And they would not release me from the contract.
Wow. Well, I had kind of the opposite. Recently, I was contacted as this organization wanted me to run a workshop. And we agreed on the terms and all that sort of stuff. And they said, okay, send us an invoice. And I went, well, no, I'm not going to send you an invoice until I've done the work. They wanted to pay me before I'd done it. I can't do that.
You refused that?
A deposit or something. What's that?
You refused that?
Well, if it was a deposit, yeah, but I didn't. It wasn't the nature of the event to need a deposit. But I said, oh no, I'd rather do the work first and then get paid for it. Yeah, anything can happen. Yeah, break a leg or whatever. And I thought it was really nice of them to do that. But I said, oh no, wait till I do the work, then I'll send you an invoice.
Yeah, well, see, it's showing the ethics that you have, etc. But you've also got to look at it from the other point of view. Have you done work for that other group before?
I had actually, yeah.
I did work in it for one of the national police forces, and it was supposed to be paid up front. I delivered the thing, and then it was paid 6 weeks later. I had to make 5 or 6 chase up calls to get to the people because it was going to be paid by a credit card that one of the officers had. They went on holidays and all this sort of stuff. So in that particular case, yes, if I'm running an event, they're going to book in, they're going to pay a deposit, and they'll be paid beforehand because I don't know, what the outcome's going to be. Yeah. What's their ethics? How effective are they in what they do? How honest? If I've worked with them before, may not be an issue.
Well, indeed.
It comes down to trust, doesn't it?
It comes down to trust and also the bureaucratic nature or otherwise of the organisation, the scale of it. I did some work with a large government department and it took weeks and weeks and weeks to get paid. It's just, Yeah, they don't care. They're all getting paid anyway. The people who work for those bureaucracies, they get paid every week. So yeah, they just don't understand that cash flow is an issue, and so it's finding the balance between send us an invoice before the work, or wait 6 or 7 or 8 weeks after the work. It's crazy.
People don't realise that that's what makes their next time they get a service, or why people's services in general keep going up in price, to cover up for that chasing of money, the amount of time you waste and the cost of all of that.
Yeah,
I know it was, when I was growing up, for instance, when I first got into the workforce, companies always paid on that 30, 60, 90-day basis, because that was all about the interest you could make on that money sitting in the bank before you actually paid it. Well, today, you don't make any interest.
Yeah.
And what you do is you lose the interest of the people who would do business with you, because they go, well, you don't value us.
Yeah, indeed. Angela, did you tell us once that there was something in Germany where you get a 5% discount if you pay it on time or something like that?
Yeah, Konto. You get a discount if you pay before the invoice is due.
Right. Yeah. Well, what a great system. What a fantastic system. Just keeps the wheels turning, and doesn't create resentments and all that. Yeah. So that's fantastic. We should adopt that here. Absolutely.
Well, the energy group that I get my power and everything through, they have just that. There's a certain amount that I pay if I pay by a certain date, but if I don't, it's this figure down there, and I look at the two and I go, it's about $100 or something different. Yep, it's always paid on time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
But again, I take control of that. I've got my system set up to automatically pay it several days before it's due.
Yeah, right.
So it fits into that period. It means that I've got that working capital in the meantime, and that, because I don't pay it immediately. But again, I'm not doing it for the fact of being able to save interest, because there is no interest that we receive these days.
Yeah.
The banks have absolutely got no interest in us whatsoever.
Different kind of interest.
When they send you a letter, dear customer, and then they put on the bottom of it how wonderful they are and how thankful they are to have us as clients and everything goes. And you know that if you spoke to them, they go, "Who are you?"
That's another topic. We did that.
It's another time, exactly. But this is the thing when it comes down to the payments. There's payment systems that we use and everything else. It's finding the right ones, but it's making sure, as Angela said, check the terms and conditions. And as you said, yes, very much take a copy, because once you've signed up with somebody and you're making a payment and then they change the terms and conditions, legally, I'd like to know how that stands with, say, our communications. They were paying by the month. If they change the conditions, does that really affect us or only the new people who come in? That's one thing I'd like to know.
It should, whenever the time at which you sign that contract and those terms and conditions, they were active, and that's what's relevant to your
But if you can't prove it, you can't prove it.
That's why you need to take a copy. We don't read them. When you look at, say, the telcos, they go on like the Dead Sea Scrolls. They roll out the door. They're that long. But, you need to take a copy of that in somewhere and lock it away. So you've got that. So if there's any disputes, go, no, when I signed up, these were the terms and conditions. Yeah. Because they put some in it knowing that you're not going to read it.
That's right.
Another topic.
Yeah.
We're sliding into all sorts of other...
We do this, don't we? We get so passionate about the stuff we're talking about. So with that, I think we might end today's one there. And thank everybody for being here. And as we said before, building bridges of respect, one conversation at a time. Thank you, Angela, for being here with me, and Dr. Chris, and to everybody else. We'll see you on the next WTF.